Good evening, YouTube Hardball Crazy Cutback video. Today I'm going to do talk about international baseball, international sports, and so forth. I hope I don't talk too far and get too long, but it's going to be, I'm going to ramble on a little bit because I got a couple subjects I want to go after, 2 or 3 subjects. First of all, I see a lot of collectors, I think more vintage-oriented collectors that go after they don't really want to buy into the newer product, and they kind of going to go. They kind of open the horizons, and instead of just focus on their one sport or 2 sports or the 4 major U.S. cards sports and the cards from them, they kind of go to the other sports, whether it's soccer, golf, tennis, Formula One, even cricket, boxing, wrestling. Is that they kind of use that, or even historical figures, musicians, world dictators, world leaders, musicians, actors. They kind of go and get the goats of everything. I mean, I don't like the term goats, but they kind of get the hot top of the top of the top list to kind of do that. For me, in baseball, I collect only baseball, and it keeps me from buying everything or try to buy everything, and keeps my wallet a little fatter than it so I just collect on what I know is baseball. So my kind of version of going after all the other stuff is collecting internationally. I think that's kind of where we're heading, I think, a little bit. Because after watching the World Baseball Classic last year and watching a little bit of the World Cup last year, I saw the finals with Messi and Mbappe and company. And I think the future of sports viewership, of fandom, and even card collecting is the international sports. I think are the ones that continue to grow the most, because that's going to have the big international games. I think is just going to draw more and more interest. And the international, I don't think the country's going to collect them, but I think just it's where those sports will be just become more and more popular. I think, and baseball is part of those sports. And so I kind of collect internationally, not say I'm investing, but I'm just kind of, my interest is kind of all over the place, and I'm picking up players now before the world really knows them, or the collectors know about them. I got 2 Japanese cards I want to show, and 1 regular set. Before I get into them, I want to talk about one other thing internationally. I mentioned about the World Cup, soccer. The last, even us soccer fans in the U.S. who don't really watch soccer were entertained by the World Cup finals, and thought how entertaining it was. And the next World Cup will be played in the U.S. in a few years here. I know a couple of years, I guess it is. And I think it will be a big thing for soccer here in the U.S. and soccer to grow. And I think the soccer training niche grows with that. So I have a challenge for the soccer card collector, expert, historian, whatever you want to call yourself, is by the time the next World Cup comes around here in the U.S., I would like, because I don't know, I'm a typical American. I only know a handful of soccer players, present and past, and like Mbappe, Messi, Holland, past Ronaldo, Pele. Beyond that, Diego Maradona. Beyond that, I don't know much about anybody else. So, for the soccer fans, I have a challenge. I think this would be a great challenge for a great thing for you soccer nuts out there, or football. By the time the World Cup comes around in the U.S., and might have a whole bunch of soccer card collectors waiting in the wings while even us knowing it. I might start collecting soccer cards come World Cup. But I want to know who are the top 25, 50, 100 soccer players of all time, no matter the league, no matter the country. These are the top soccer players internationally of all time. Give me a little snippet about why, or what their accomplishments and what years they played, and give me their rookie card or their key cards to collect. So by the time World Cup comes around, I'll have something handy, whether it's online or in physical book or something, magazine or something, that I say, okay, World Cup's fun. I'm going to support the World Cup. I want to add soccer cards to my collection, but who do I collect? What do I collect? What sets do I go for? I know Messi, but what is City in? Okay, so give me a list. Give us a list. Give us the players and the cards to collect. So by the time World Cup comes around, we start buying, 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 and we're not even thinking. We can just look it up and boom, 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 and there you have soccer card collectors coming in the market. Because if we come around, World Cup soccer comes around, we go, okay, what do I collect? Whatever. Too much effort. I'm not worried about it. This card, was this card's rookie card? Is this card for real? Was this from his playing days? What set is this? Is this legit? Give us information. We bet you they'll have a whole bunch of new collectors come World Cup time. Anyways, back to my original thought. So I've got 2 Japanese cards here. I'm going after the international portion of the selection. I think by this time next year, each year will become in the Hall of Fame. We have 6 months between induction, or 7 months between the induction results of the Hall of Fame to the induction ceremony. So we got like 7 months of. I think the Hall of Fame is going to have some type of Japanese baseball history exhibit, or something in the Hall of Fame, or some type of showcase history lesson or some sort to teach us Americans about great Japanese players of all time. I think we're going to get more and more interest in Japanese history, Icho coming in, and we're going to have more information about them. And World Baseball Classic, Olympics, I think the international is going to keep growing, so forth. So I pick a couple Japanese guys because I collect internationally, because baseball is an international sport. This guy just got a card recently is Kaji Yamamoto. This is 73 Calby rookie card. Got a pretty good price on it. He's 4th all-time in NPB, Nippon Baseball, Professional Baseball, Japanese Baseball League history. His accolades and rewards are too far to talk about right now, but he's an inner circle Hall of Famer. He's known as Mr. Red Helmet, even though he's not wearing one right now. His team, Hiroshima Carp, known to wear a red helmet, started being called Mr. Yankee or Mr. Giant. He is Mr. Red Helmet, playing for the Carp. And one other card I'm going to showcase, I got this several years ago, is I wanted a Playing Days card of Cedar O that shows his iconic swing. So I have this Calby card from like 74, 75. And it shows off his great swing. So I have this card. Bought that card several months ago and never really showcased him on. I just want to talk about one other player. I know a couple of people here collect Cuban players, and this guy is never mentioned. But he needs to be discussed as the greatest Cuban players of all time. We know about the present stars who defected: Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Aroldis Chapman, and Luis Robert. The early ones like the Hernandez brothers, Jose Contreras, Ray Ordonez, and everybody else between. We know about the guys who came to play the MLB before the border closing, such as Luis Tiant, Tony Oliva, Manny Minoso, Mike Cuellar, Bert Campaneris. We know about the Cuban Hall of Famers from playing the Negro Leagues who never got a chance to play in the U.S. AL MLB, like Martin Diego, Cristobal Torriente, Jose Mendez. But who is the greatest player to play post-Castro, or post-Castro, during Castro, post-border closing, pre-defection in the mid-90s? Who is the greatest player there? That's a huge 25-year gap. This is the guy, is usually the first name that comes off everybody's tongue. His name is Omar Linares. I have 3 cards of him to show, and he was a third baseman, and he, whatever you talked about him, they consider him the best. He was considered the best player outside MLB. Scouts MLB scouts wanted him on their teams. I think he was trying to get about half a dozen teams tried to get to him, but he's rather stayed in Cuba because he's a celebrity there, and he was taken care of in Cuba instead of playing the U.S. unknown. He played in gold medal teams and up and down Cuba internationally. If you go watch some YouTube games, old games on YouTube between Cuba and USA, or Cuba versus the Orioles exhibition they did in the late 90s, they'll talk about Omar Linares in great reverence. And I got 3 cards to showcase of them. You may mostly be familiar with the 1994 Cuban League card. He also has a, I don't know if this maybe his rookie card. I don't know. I only know of this is his earliest card. 1990 Pan Am Games, they had like a card set, and this is from 1990. That this might be his rookie card, and they came out with a set. Came out with all the teams that played in the Pan Am Games, and Linares, and a couple other Cuban greats, Orestes Quindelón and Isaac Pacheco is in the set. Grandson of the Wind, who just signed with the Giants, Jung Hoo Lee. His dad, who played Korea at the time, was part of the Korean team in that set. And the U.S. guys was all minor leaguers, amateurs, so nobody came fruition out of that. So this is set I was looking for with my want list forever, and finally found one at a decent price, because these cards can kind of be expensive because they don't show up too much. But I was very happy to add this Omar Linares in my set. And he finished up his career in Japan, so here's a BBM card of him. He's got several Japanese cards. And that is Omar Linares, and my video is long enough. And I thought I'll talk international baseball for a little bit, and give a challenge to the soccer fans out there. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a good night.